Here's a General Electric AM shortwave 8 transistor radio from 1964. As you can probably guess from this stamp here, this set was sold to the military. This was a morale receiver, and these were issued during the Vietnam War. I don't think this particular one was issued, but I guess I can't really know that for sure. In any case, it's in excellent condition, although it is not sealed in the box. Here's a little manual. I'll get to that in a bit. Here's the aforementioned vapor barrier bag. Didn't want to stuff the set back in there because it'll make it all smelly again. Yeah, there's the date, 9/64. It's a model R-1289. It's kind of a metallic lined canvas bag. Here's the pièce de résistance, the actual radio itself. And there's a little note in the box. It said clean volume control and paid $50 in 1996, working in 2012. It was working-ish when I got it, although when I had it open, a wire soon broke off. It seemed like this thing had been opened several times before. There we go. You can see the set is in pretty close to mint condition. There's some, discoloration or whatever you want to call it on the little badge on the bottom here. But the dial is still nice and clear. It's got gear reduction tuning. And the plastic's pretty nice, no cracks or chips. Nice straight antenna. It's actually not that tall. The antenna is only needed for shortwave. You don't need it for AM. Since I already have the antenna up, let's try shortwave. You see there's a nice fine tuning control there. It's electrical though. It uses a little potentiometer. I'm not sure how that actually works in the circuit. It's not like a variable capacitor or anything like you usually see. I was picking up quite a few shortwave stations last time I tried this, which was yesterday.
You say, well, that could never be. Well, what would stop it? The minds of the people.
You honestly don't need that fine-tuning control.
And I always say, does God always do what He says He's going to do? And I always tell him, I say, let's look to see. He said He's going to send his Son to die on a cross.
One thing that surprised me with this set is that the oscillator is pretty stable. It's pretty good at staying on the shortwave station you set it to. That's not typical of, transistor radios.
I'm going to rise again.
This doesn't have a phase-locked loop or anything like that to keep it steady.
And keep them down.
意见就是管理的方式模式，这制定过程中，现在中。
东亚夏季在北，从而给北方带来丰富降水，逆转当地自上世纪70年代以来的干旱局面。这项成果发表在西级美国国家科学院学报上。
It's really just as easy to bring in the station with the main control. The fine-tuning control isn't any more sensitive than the dial here, which has a pretty good gear reduction ratio. They did a slightly better job than most at keeping the upper stations from being bunched together. I mean, they're still obviously quite a bit more closely spaced than the ones at the bottom of the dial, as is typical, but at least they made some effort there. It makes it a little easier to tune. I'll put down the antenna since we need it for AM.
Higher standards and is required to put your interests above their own. And that, you asked earlier, but when they turn it on, as we just heard, I mean, they've got as much talent as anybody.
Some shocking news. Have to worry about this fellow that comes off of Corsica, but that's...
Jack Moser Law and BustedForDrunkDriving.com understand the difficulties people face when they've been shot.
I had thought.
Jimmy L. Jimmy R. is...
New York, their deceptions of a slowing America.
Right. So keep the fire burning. Let it warm me through the night. You can be a part of me.
It's about as loud as it'll play without distorting, so not super loud. Kind of surprising that it doesn't play louder.
Baby, we'll set this flame inside us free.
It's got a nice little carry handle up there. Runs on 4 C cells. It's got a center tapped battery compartment. Let me just grab a screwdriver real quick. I think whoever owned this before me had this thing open a bunch of times, so I hesitate to take the back cover all the way off any more times. I already had to resolder the battery connections because they had just worn them out. It's a model P-925B. That's the civilian model number, I guess. It's got antenna and ground connections up there. Let's go right to the circuit board. You know what, just for you guys, I'm gonna take the back cover off one more time. The screw posts are unfortunately starting to wear out, so gotta be a little careful with it, but whatever. It's interesting enough on the inside here. You can see it's just got a 2-section tuning cap, no tuned RF stage. I haven't messed with the alignment on this thing at all. It seems to be pretty good already. Now this thing was an absolute pain in the neck to recap. This one cap here was easy, the others were not. This thing has a modular construction. You can see the 2 IF stages there, and a little board which is soldered down into place. And then, more oddly, the output amplifier there is also done the same way. It's got so many connections on the top and the bottom that I had to undo to get at these stupid caps to get this thing to sound good once again. Honestly, there's almost as many connections along the edges as there are connections on the components on the board. I don't see how that saved them anything. My understanding is that these modules were built in Japan and then they installed them here in the U.S., so they could still technically call this thing American made. I don't have concrete proof of that though, so maybe one of you guys does, I don't know. Either way, it's a pain to work on. I also had to take out quite a few screws to get the chassis out of there. It's fairly typical GE, unfortunately. Almost all of their sets are a huge pain in the butt to work on. Even their earlier ones. Not service friendly in the least. Just I'll show you guys the manual quick. Yeah, that screw's just about stripped out the plastic post in there, unfortunately. That's probably the last time that'll go back on there without needing to be reinforced. Oh well. Do this all for you guys. This manual covers 2 different models. This one's got 2 shortwave bands. As you saw, this one only has 1. Not sure how much this one costs. You can pause if you want to read the text. This is a fairly nice manual, though. It does explain how shortwave reception works and all that. Guess this didn't come with the earphone, oddly. Or at least it wasn't in the package. You'd think for military use they'd want to include an earphone, just so it's not, audible. But whatever. It was a morale receiver, not like a combat receiver, so I probably wouldn't have used it on the front lines. Made in Utica, New York, not too far from here. Well, thanks for watching.